I'm very pleased to have Christine Mola on our call today, and she is contributing to our book, The Great Pause, The Blessings and Wisdom from COVID-19. And it's so wonderful to get to talk with you this morning, Christine.
Thanks for having me, Liz. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of this awesome project. Really, super.
I'm excited to have you as part of it. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself, your work, where you live, a little introduction?
Introduction, yes. So I am obviously Christine. Some call me Chris. I answer to a lot of different derivatives of that name. Well, you know, a lot of mommy and Nini too. So that makes me a mom. I'm born and raised in Bristol, Connecticut. I live in Forestville, which is a little village of Bristol. Everybody probably knows it if they pass through it. I've been here my whole entire life. I have wonderful parents that are still in town, two brothers that kind of stretch their wings a little bit, but they're still around. I have two amazing daughters. Ashley Ann is 30, Nicole Ann is 28. And Ashley is our blessed little child that lives with autism. And the baby daughter is our blessed little child that does not. She is successful in the medical industry, and she's also a mom who gave me Annie and Adrian. So a boy and a girl. Right, I was always used to just girls. Even my brothers had girls. And all of a sudden this boy came in, and a son-in-law. so you know, and they're at a stone's throw as well. We didn't really kind of, you know, fly from our roots at this point too far. So it's a tight knit sitch. So
nice. It's nice to have family nearby.
It really is. Yeah, I live and breathe my kids. I do. You know, I know that I sometimes am accused of being a helicopter mom, even though, yeah. Oh well.
What are you gonna do? So how were you affected during this time, this great pause? What happened in your life?
Well, I mean, primarily it affected everything. You know, it was just, it affected my job. So at the time I was employed at a hotel locally and as one of the sales directors. And, you know, I mentioned, you know, my family and I, my kids and I went to Disney World the last week of January. We came home and everything just changed. It literally, and you know, when we were in the airport, just really quick, you know, my son-in-law, we were standing there with all these people and the kids and sweating, you know, and wanting to get on the plane after a Disney experience. You know, my son-in-law goes, "The COVID's coming." And I go, "What do you mean, Mark? I don't know what you're talking about," you know? And he said, "The COVID's coming." I said, "Okay, great. Let's just get on the plane and go home." Well, you know what? It did. And it did. As soon as we got home, you know, I was sick for weeks after that. And all of a sudden, it just started the news started changing, all the news. Well, because my industry was hospitality for 25 years, I was at a hotel, director of sales. Within a few weeks, and really, beginning of March, within a few weeks, we lost a $250,000 business, like overnight. It was nuts, you know, and it wasn't just affecting me, it was affecting all the properties everywhere. So, you know, for me, we wound up getting laid off, not furloughed, and that for me, that was March 20th. And, you know, it affected everything, you know, and, but it was for me though, and I write in the chapter, A Course Corrected, it literally was a course corrected. And I mentioned, you know, it set me free. It was something that was coming. It was a divine intervention that was coming. And it wasn't just meant for me, but it was meant for everyone. Mm-hmm. But the timing couldn't have been better. So, you know, and it launched a whole bunch of things that have been going on since then. It feels like 3 months, 4 months has been like a year. Now it's changed that much, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know I've experienced that myself. There's been times in my life where I haven't stopped things that weren't really working for me at all, but I wouldn't have stopped if there wasn't some kind of, and it felt like divine intervention. And it seems like, you know, I got let go of a job, fired. They let me say it was let go. but it was, which who wants that to happen, right? Who wants that to happen? But it was the best thing that happened to me at that point. So sometimes it does feel like, whoa, like there's other things at work that are shifting. So
yeah, shifting. And, you know, and I've spoken to this on other interviews that starting in 2019, the fall, I mean, my career was just not meeting my life. You know, it was a beautiful place. My entire career, actually, the past 5 years has been rocky in the industry that I was in for so long. And I knew I had to make a change, but it was just so scary. And I just couldn't, I started working on it, but I couldn't. Yeah. But let me tell you though, you know, and right before the COVID, I started to really process the changes of what I needed to do, and, you know, journaling like mad. And then of course the forced correction. So yeah, it forcibly corrected you and so many others as well. So,
so what, and this might be aligned with what you just said, what surprised you with all of this? Were there any surprises that you wouldn't have expected?
Well, yeah, the fact that I lost my job.
Might be.
Yeah, I mean, I had just moved into a new house too at the end of February. So you know, and so when I tell you the poop hits the fan, it hit the fan, you know. And I think the surprises were not so much, I don't even know how to say it. Yes, they were surprises, but they were more of, and I said, a blast of factual in the back of the head smack, you know, and it was something that was there to redirect. All right. So new home, fired from my job, along with 200 other people. So, you know, it wasn't just me. You know, I spent some time indulging into Netflix for a little while. I gave myself some breathing time after I was really upset and had a pity party. And then I chilled out. I started to think and put things in order. You know, by nature, I'm a scheduler, and I don't like surprises. I like things in order. Yeah, I don't like to be blindsided, but I have a number of times through my life. So, you know, I said to myself, you know what, you've gotten through different things before, you'll do this. But the thing that changed me the most is I was on a different direction. I was a different person. You know, I really was in a different spiritual situation. I think I've grown some major wisdom over the years that started to pour out. And listening to myself and being in other, and also being involved in other groups of like-minded individuals that could share their fears so that it wasn't so scary, you know, because it was, right? You know, the death that was happening from this, the disease, or the virus itself, the collapse of economy around you, you know, very quickly. So you didn't know where you stood. So all I wanted to do was watch Mad Men for 2 weeks and just not think about it. Okay.
Yeah. So you did write during this time, right? Not everyone.
It started pouring out.
Yeah. Yeah. What advice do you have for people that are writing?
That are not writing?
That are writing.
Oh,
or
are writing?
Want to write, or are authors, or anybody.
Well, this has been the writing thing I've done since I was a kid, short stories, things like that, but I never had any confidence at all in letting anybody other than nobody read it. Not sure who ever read my little stories, you know. And so when this came about, again, you know, this was also in the back of my head. I wanted to write some children's books. I wanted to write some transformation pieces. I wanted to do this for years. So I just literally sat down, and after my staycation of the Netflix sitch, I sat myself down, and among organizing my life, I said, I need to do this. I need to start writing this down. This is how, you know, and I took a little small journal, and I was putting little Post-it notes in it saying, I want to write about this. I need to write about this. You know, I need to write about the work situation. I need to write about and I just sort of started slow and then went. And then you, beautiful you, invited me to be a part of this book. And, you know, you asked, you said, you put it out there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it. And when I went to go write this chapter, it didn't take me long at all. I thought it was, I was so scared to express what I wanted to say for fear of judgment. And then it just went away.
Oh,
it did, I shook it off. It's a mindful act. It's a mindful act that you just shake it off, center and align yourself, and let the creativity flow. And it does come through.
And it comes through when you read it. I mean, when I read the chapter, it feels very, like I can really picture you going through it. It feels like it flowed out of you, the story, that you're being authentic and really sharing your personal, experience with it, that, yeah, you wanted to shut down and like avoid, right? The
truth will set you free. I mean, and I know that sounds crazy. I have this quote, it's a free mind equals a free soul, and if you can free your mind of the clutter, whether it is a story of your truth that you need to tell and get it out there, and then all of a sudden everything just opens up. And that's exactly what happened to me. As soon as I jumped on your bus, the journey began for me, the new one.
I'm so glad.
Oh, how cliche is that?
Woohoo!
Write that down.
Great. Where's the Post-it?
Oh my, you don't even want to know my Post-it situation. I love office products. So
me too. Staples growing up, I was like, this is my favorite store on the face of the earth. Yeah.
Agreed.
So if anyone wants to learn more about you, your work, how do they get in touch with you? What's the easiest way for them?
Right. So, okay. Personally, I was blessed to go back to work on June 8th. So I did go back into a derivative of my sales and marketing career. So yay, in senior living. So that did happen. So that was a beautiful thing. But among all that, I have a company called Bloom 23 Productions. So until March, it used to be events. So they all canceled. I have one event in August, but that'll be that. But that is for 2020 at least. That's the production side. And then we're starting a new blog and website called Anchoring the Transformation. Hashtag Anchoring the Transformation. And that is going to be literally a blog site. Right now, I don't know what it's going to, but it'll be a place for me to share stories, but I'm also inviting guest bloggers on. So I'd like to have their stories combined for people that are out there that are maybe stuck on a fence, don't know where to go. One of the stories will hit you, just like this book. So that is in the works for now. And so I will be creating a new Facebook page for that, as well as the website, probably launching maybe after the book, late August to September. So stay tuned.
Well, stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's such a pleasure to talk with you.
Thanks. You too. Yay, Saturday. Go. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.